Hello everybody and welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We are going to be painting these adorable little mushrooms today. 3 different kinds, so grab your supplies and let's get started. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to draw these guys. It's not really hard, and you can apply the... Where's my pencil? There we go. So for this first one here, and you can apply this to basically any mushroom, we're just going to paint a little like rounded triangle almost, and you're just going to create a wave that turns around and meets back over on this side. So you could kind of think of it like the yin-yang, so like an angled teardrop, and then the hat. And then, of course, the little leg of the mushroom, I guess. So just kind of draw it like this. And then for the bigger ones, it's even easier. You just have, obviously, the really long leg and then a rounded triangle. And it's really that easy. So once you have them drawn, we can get started here. For these ones are going to be like a really bright, almost white color. So you do want to erase your pencil marks so that they're just barely visible, because we don't want them to show through the watercolor, of course. So we're going to start with this cute toadstool over here. This guy is going to have a red top, so that's what we're going to start with. It's almost even like a maroon color, I would say, than a red, but if you only have red, that's totally fine too. It'll work. And you could do this 2 ways. You can either dab on some white polka dots after when it's dried, or you can leave little white gaps. So if you were to leave white circles, you would just paint around them like this. And then you would fill in the rest. I just zoomed it in so you could have a really close-up view of exactly what I'm doing with my mushroom here. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're just filling it in. And what we can do is, while that background red is still wet, we can add a little bit of shadows just in the corners. So here, just on this one side, give it a little bit of pop, a little bit of variety. Of course, along here as well, since this is sort of in the background, so it's naturally going to be a little bit darker. And now the rest of the mushroom is quite simple. We're just going to be using really watered down black or even gray, and just filling in shadows essentially to make this mushroom look like a mushroom. So I'm gonna just erase this because I don't want the pencil marks to show through. So the first thing I'm going to start off doing is outlining the leg of my mushroom with light gray, just so that we can see where it is within the little hat, or the underside of the hat. And I'm going to fill this whole section in with water. I'm going to take black and I'm just going to outline this portion of my little leg, because I want there to be, you know, lots of shadows coming from this. And at the same time, I'm going to outline the kind of second portion of the leg of the mushroom here. And I'm going to add a little bit of shading coming from here as well, because this portion of our foot is going to be overlapping this portion, so we want there to be shading coming from it. At the same time, I'm just gonna kind of branch out these lines coming from the center of the underside. And this is because this is sort of what the pattern looks like underneath mushrooms. So I'm just fanning it out in this like flower style, I suppose. Just adding a little bit more black, outlining that foot. You can also fill in that upper portion of your leg. And I'm gonna keep the right side of it much lighter so that it looks like that. So we're gonna move on to the second set of mushrooms here. These ones are going to be much, much lighter, and we're gonna be using like a more brown for these guys. So for these top portions, what you can do is take your very, very watered down pigment, whichever color that you're choosing here, and just fill in the entirety of the mushroom head. Just make sure that it's really, really watered down. And see, mine is still too dark, so I'm gonna pick up a lot of pigment from that top portion, like so. And just taking my little detail brush, I'm just gonna add a little bit of pigment coming from here, so there's like a shadow. And just along here as well. And that's still too dark, so again, I'm gonna pick it up. I really like how that guy turned out. So I'm gonna move on to my next mushroom head here. And now the legs of our little mushrooms are going to be much the same as the heads in terms of like how we paint them with the color. So I'm gonna start out with just painting the bottom portion of the legs. And there's these cute little mushrooms. So we're gonna move on to the last set here, and they're gonna be almost a combination of the two of these mushrooms, but I'm gonna use more of like a plum color for them, or I'm gonna try to. So just like the other two, I'm starting with the head. And what I tend to do is I put a lot of pigment at the top, and then I take a brush that just has water on it, and that's how I create the really gradual gradient of the mushroom heads. I'm going to do the second one using the same color. So the first one, we don't have the bottom portion visible. And we're utilizing the same technique that we used for this toadstool on this guy over here. So I'm just outlining, you know, this top of the head first, or the top of the leg rather. Just like that first one, we are flicking out the, I don't know what this is called. If somebody knows what this is called, the bottom part of the mushroom, I mean, I could figure it out really quickly by just searching it on the internet, but if anyone knows offhand, feel free to comment. This sort of umbrella portion, or not the umbrella portion, but the like flaky part underneath a mushroom. I do want to add a little bit of greenery to my little mushrooms, so I'm gonna just flick some grass. And that is essentially it. That is our little adorable mushroom study. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in next week's tutorial.